Dr. Stewart.
Good evening, everyone. Our protocols observed. Tonight I'm going to talk about the juvenile in prison system. It was very interesting and very good to know the bill that was passed, because in our juvenile system, and what we call the NOC, the large percent of children that are in NOC are actually in there for truancy, loitering, and things that are not actually criminal acts. So it's very important to see that change, because then that would reduce the number of children that we see in detention centers, because we don't have that significant amount of children in detention centers for criminal acts, right? And so it's important for us to understand the main aim of the juvenile justice system is rehabilitation and not punishment. We have to understand that the children are not supposed to be punished while they're in the centers. They're supposed to be re-educated, rehabilitated, and be able to bring them back reintegrate them into the society in which they can be functional adults. And to answer Dr. Scott's question about can they come back into the society and be productive adults, yes, they can. And it's our responsibility to ensure they do. There's some of the things, there are many factors that contribute to juvenile delinquency, as Dr. Khan alluded to. And so I will not go through those factors, but there are factors. Some of the common factors that I find in the work that I do is domestic violence, fathers that are not present, homes that are fractured, and homes and poverty, where there are homes that children can't afford to have food, so they spend a lot of time on the street, and eventually they develop the culture of their environment, which entices them to begin the criminal acts in that community in which they wander off into. So it's important for crime to be able to understand crime and understand how our juveniles get into crime, to understand what we need to do to prevent that from happening. I like to go to the preventive way of being able to deal with this issue. And some of the things that we do, and the social protection has started, is parenting classes, right? Where I conduct parenting classes for the social protection office. And we teach parents how to be parents and the signs and the things they need to look for in the development of the child, what ages the children develop at, and the things that we say to them and how we say it to them, and what we say, where we say it, and all the circumstances that regulate their behavior. So it's important to understand that we play a part as the community and as the family in being able to prevent the juveniles from becoming delinquent, because as we know, the brain is not fully developed, so there are some risks that they'll take that normally would not be taken when you get to 25. And if you did, you'll have a consequence to that. Crime by juveniles should not be seen as crime in the sense that it was for adults, but evidence of delinquency. Juvenile errors and omissions should not be held against an offender in later life. Our task as parents, or even the justice system, is not to punish the juveniles for crime, but to guide delinquents to responsible and productive adulthood. Non-discriminatory behavior should be allowed. Equal treatment must be administered to any delinquent child that has the potential to be able to commit a crime if they do, because we would have protective services to be able to help the child from really being incarcerated or into a detention center. It's important that we reintegrate kids with their families, and Child Care Protection Agency has been doing an extremely good job trying to reintegrate children into families by also instructing parents about good parenting styles. The child has the right to life, survival, and development. An inherent right is for the children to be able to live in societies where they're free to be able to be children. So it's important that we provide them that structure to give them the guidance that they need to be able to be good adults. So therefore, we rely a lot on the community, the infrastructure, and the parents our education system in order to bring about changes. Many children that come to us have been bullied. Parents have punished them in ways of corporal punishment. They often run away from home. They often have no one to talk to. There's no safe spaces for those children to be able to heal. So we need to create some safe spaces for children. We talked about some of the preventive ways that we could get around to ensure that the children are protected before they get into the stage of delinquency. And some of them are safe spaces that we need to create to enable them to be able to reach out for the help they need. There are signs and there are signals that we see. Schools and teachers are really an excellent source of identifying delinquent behavior when it starts in an early stage. Where we see children bullying other children, we see children oftentimes missing school, we see children coming to school in tearful manners or coming to school and divulging information to teachers that they don't necessarily want to divulge to anyone else. Those are red flags that we need to investigate and find safe places and counselors to be able to educate students as far as what can we do to prevent them from going down the spiral of becoming a delinquent child. Because our goal as teachers, psychologists, parents, and the community as a whole, as we know, the community is responsible for raising our children, the entire community. There are some fundamental things that we learn must be done when someone is facing delinquency. There are fundamental principles of the juvenile justice system, and I'd just like to go through a few of them. It should be non-discriminative. It also must look at the best interests of the child and the child's right to life, survival, and development. Also, the child has a right to be heard. The child has a right to be recognized with dignity and the worth of the child, as well as the age criminally responsible. It usually should be at the upper limit, and I'm glad to see the change that we have in Guyana to reduce that age, to increase that age to 14, rather than keep it at 10 years old. The separation from adults, also early release, detention as a last resort for the shortest time possible. Privacy in proceedings, where we should have the courts, where children are tried in courts separate from the courts that adults are placed in. And I'm running out of time, so I would like to say it's really important for us to take care of our children, because if we don't take care of them now, we will surely spend an awful lot of money, as Minister Andrew talked about $600 million to take care of them down the line. So we must ensure that we prevent them from becoming delinquents. Thank you.